Let's do this. And then okay, to a page, to this one. All right. All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another webinar from PALCUS. My name is Angela Simos, and today we're here with our good friend, Nelson Ponta-Garça. Hi, Nelson. Thanks for joining us today.
Angela.
So Nelson is in Hawaii doing a book launch for the Portuguese in Hawaii book. And so this is the third book in a series. The first was Portuguese in California, and then you did Portuguese in New England, correct? And now we have Portuguese in Hawaii. And you know, the cool thing about these books is it's really documenting our community's history in all these regions of the country. You know, we have a lot of anecdotal stories, but there's always questions around how long have we been here? And everyone's always surprised when they go to Hawaii and they see Portuguese sausage or Portuguese bean soup or Portuguese names on businesses. And so tell us a little bit about first why you started doing this series, and then I'd love to learn a little bit more about the Portuguese in Hawaii. Like, you know, when did it start? What are some of the more interesting facts that you discovered on your journey?
Hi, Angela. Well, thank you so much for this opportunity with you. We go way back on this saga of the Portuguese and documenting the Portuguese, starting with California. And I just held the book for the first time. I should have thought of it and have it right here, but maybe next time. But I just held it for the first time physically because it came all the way from Portugal to Hawaii, and we're doing about 11 to 12 book signings across the 4 different islands. And this started as I work for RTP for about 15 years now. Time flies. And I do reports for Portuguese national television. But I wanted to do something deeper that would document the Portuguese in the main areas where they live. And I started with California, of course, being the largest Portuguese community in America, and also because I was born in California and I lived in California for a long time now. I'm between Azores and California, and almost more Azores than California, depends on the time. And now Hawaii, I came to Hawaii for the first time 5 years ago. And it's been my 4th time, about average once a year, to do the documentary. And what I decided to do was to convert and adapt the documentary to a book so that we would have something physical that would last for eternity to promote and also to document the amazing stories of the Portuguese in Hawaii. And it's going really, really well.
And so give us some stats around, so how many people did you interview? Are there Portuguese on every island in the Hawaiian Islands?
Yeah, so that I am aware, this is the first almost 100 years since there was a publication after the 1930 Mr. Freitas book that was the reference here. There's other things that have been done about Hawaii that are excellent, but nothing that was done in the islands with the photos of the people, with the interviews. So I'm really proud that I was able to document this golden generation that everybody's getting older. And if you don't do it now, I felt that you would lose this beautiful golden generation that contributed so much to the Portuguese in Hawaii. So we did that. It's documented. And we went to 3 islands. So I started with the Big Island, and then I did Maui, and then Oahu. This time I was fortunate to come for the first time to Kauai, because I was told that in Kauai there wasn't much of a Portuguese community these days, because they were mostly from the continent, and people from the continent didn't adapt very well. They preferred California. And then they they went to California and they left Kauai. But I was just yesterday with former Mayor Bernard Carvalho, former mayor and now chair of the city council in Maui, Mel Raposo. And this one here, those images are from Oahu. So that's Rachel, for example, and our consul general, Pedro Pinto, that I'm really, really happy that he was able to come, because it's not always politically well received. Politicians coming to Hawaii because they think they come just for the beach. So nobody wants to come for that sense. And Pedro Pinto is doing an amazing job with the ties between Portugal and Hawaii and California, uniting all these communities. And this was an amazing group. We're watching here a beautiful group of people. Danny Abreu, right on the center there with me, was the book sponsor and producer. And Rachel from the Portuguese program in Hawaii. They have at the university, they teach Portuguese. She is
that's great.
And
okay.
She is Brazilian, but it is Portuguese. As Antonio Costa says, we wish we would speak with their accent. I'm not sure I line up with that thought, but I love the accent and I love Rachel. I think she's doing an amazing job. She's been so supportive. And that's mostly where the Portuguese language is being taught. Because one thing that you could see in Hawaii is that the language is completely lost. And you asked me earlier how many people I interviewed. I interviewed about 30 to 40 people.
Okay.
And then on the book, for the documentary, and then on the book that we're seeing here, and that's the book I was talking about from Mr. Freighters, 1930. So we're like 7 years shy from 100 years between those two babies. And we did an island tour with 4 islands that included Kauai.
And so, was there anything surprising that you discovered in all your interviews that you did? Something that you never expected to find out?
Yes, and still, even now, even after coming here for the 4th, 5th time, every time I had a bet here with Danny Abreu that might join us here in a little bit, the book producer, and he's a Hawaiian from descent from Madeira and Azores, which is the combination. It's always Mama from Azores, Papa from Madeira, or the other way around, or either they're not sure, but they think it's from those two. Yeah, that's Wilma. Wilma is from the Historical Center. She is a beautiful person, and she actually came to all the other islands along with Larry Carvalho from the Historical Center. They came along to support us to at least another 2 islands. One of the things that is crazy, Angela, is that you go like right here. I'm at the Maui Seaside Hotel, and if it's not too windy, I'll go outside and share a little bit of Hawaii with our audience. If you ask anybody out there, and I had a bet going with Danny, is like, let's ask people if they're part Portuguese, because nobody is full Portuguese. It's like 1/2, 1/4. And 1/4. And last night, for example, there was a singer, amazing singer, singing in the island of Kauai. And we asked him, of course, he's half Portuguese. Then the servers at the restaurant, we asked one of them if they were Portuguese. Of course, they were half Portuguese, half Filipino. And then it just keeps going on like that. You can't really tell by the physiognomy, right? There's a mix of Asian, so it's not, you could assume by the looks, never, because you never know. You could assume it doesn't look Portuguese and half Portuguese or 1/4, but they are. And then also the language. I mean, the language is completely lost, as I said. As Marlene Hapai described very well on the documentary, you could be a Portuguese Hawaiian could be standing by a Portuguese talking Portuguese, and they have no idea what they're talking about, or if it's the Portuguese language. Because we're talking about a community that came here. We're celebrating now the 145th year of the Priscilla arriving here, the first document.
Was that the name of the ship? Oh, wow.
Yeah,
okay.
The ship, yeah. So it's 145 years since the Priscilla came. So it's many generations. Most people, it was their great grandparents that came, or great grandparents. Some, I was able to find some that their grandparents came, and it seemed like the grandparents kept the traditions,
Mm-hmm.
kept the language, but wouldn't want the kids to speak because they wanted to adapt. It's very common also in California. Now you're in America, you speak English, and
Right.
that's what they did. And now they wish it was different, but that's what it is. But I don't think they're less Portuguese or less excited because of that.
Mm-hmm. And so how have people been reacting to the book? I mean, I haven't seen it physically, but I have seen the Portuguese in California book, and they're beautifully done. You know, the pictures are big and the colors are bright and the way it's laid out. I mean, it's just such a well done book. How are people reacting when they see it?
Well, Angela, thank you so much. Like every parent thinks their kids are the most
Or
beautiful
beautiful.
kids in the
Yeah.
world. I also think this book is beautiful and the most beautiful book ever done, the Portuguese in Hawaii. As far as the graphics, it is a very well designed. It was printed in Portugal, so I wanted it to bring something from Portugal. I always tell them it was an adventure, almost like the Priscilla coming here, because it came all the way from Portugal, and it would have probably been cheaper and faster and less headaches to do it in America. But I wanted to bring something in my hand from Portugal for them. So that's one of the things they really appreciate. And then the comments we've been getting is that it's very professionally done, both the documentary and the book, because it is a book release, but it's also a documentary release in a lot of islands, because once I came here, I only went to the big islands. I only released the documentary in Madeira, in Azores, in California, in the big island. But at the time, I could not come to the other islands. So the documentary is also being released in Maui, in Kauai, and Oahu for the first time. So
Oh,
it's
that's
been
great.
beautiful because we do the documentary release,
Yeah.
we watch the documentary, and then we do the book signings. So it's like a double event, and then it connects because the book is an adaptation from the documentary. So basically, whoever the interviews I did on the documentary, I select like a quote from them that I think best describes and sums up that interview, and then I have it in the book. And then what I also did is I studied a lot of the publications done about Hawaii, mostly the Freitas book, and I picked up those historical facts because I'm not a historian or a university professor, but I wanted to make sure that these facts were accurate, that it was a historical record for generations to come. So I had many people review it and take a look at it. So it's a combination of historical facts, like the boats when they come, how many people, how many months, all those historical kind of the sound bites of a thick Bible that people sometimes don't have time to read. Or so I made it a very a popular book and a simple reading in the sense that it's, it has a lot of pictures. It has interviews and it has a lot of text too. It's about 200 pages. It's smaller. I learned from the California one, almost 600 plus pages on the first edition, and then I reduced it to 300 and then 200. Because one thing I've learned is people appreciate it the same way.
Mm-hmm.
It is less expensive to produce, and logistics of transportation are better. But with California, the difference is that I wanted to do something more of documentation for future studies in universities,
Mm-hmm.
or to be archived in places that study Portuguese culture. And with Hawaii, the goal of the book was more to promote the culture, because everything's kind of dying over here. That's the reality. So in Kauai, for example, there's not one single organization. Now, the city wants to start. They got it. The one thing I believe the book is doing a really good job in the documentary is getting the Portuguese here excited about,
Oh, wow. Okay.
about starting stuff. They've been talking about, oh, we got to start this again, and you really opened up our eyes, and we're so excited about this, and we want to pick up some organizations that kind of died out. And Angela, one of the things that I believe it is very important for California is that I believe that Hawaii now is kind of how California is going to be in 30, 40, 50 years. So we
Really?
could kind of like see ahead in the future of what's going to happen in California with a lot of the organizations dying or consolidating or disappearing completely. So, for example, we have many Portuguese halls here and newspapers and things like we used to have in California. And right now, there's only one Portuguese hall in all of Hawaii. It's the
Wow.
Heritage Hall in Maui. Well, there's other organizations like the Historical Center, Genealogy Center in Oahu, but they don't have a building. And we know in California, we like our infrastructure.
Yes, we
like
do.
our halls. We have,
yeah.
I believe, up to not too long ago, we had more than 200 Portuguese Espírito Santo halls alone. They don't have one single one, but they do celebrate the festa. And let me take that back. It is not a hall, but is a church. There's the other facility we have is in Punch Bowl in Oahu. They celebrate the festa. And I call it the fastest and shortest parade in the world. they leave the Império, right? The Capella. They go around the parking lot and they come back. Why? Because as Honolulu became more and more famous and a lot of tourists coming, it became harder to get permits to go on the street. It became almost impossible to do it. And what they tell me is that they kind of gave up on that process and also became smaller. It didn't justify going down the street like we go in California. So they do exactly the same. They carry the Bandeira de Espírito Santo in the front. They have the Espírito Santo playing in the back. Actually, there's a video on the Portuguese page if you guys want to check it out. It's about 2 minutes. Done on my phone. Wasn't even with professional cameras as I usually do. For the documentary, I just picked up the phone and a lot of people's already shared it. I think it's probably between 5,000 and 10,000 views already. Because it is incredible how the Holy Spirit and the Portuguese culture and the Espírito Santo is so strong, even all the way here in Oahu and Hawaii. And I call it the shortest and fastest Portuguese parade in the world.
So 2 questions. One, so you were already giving an idea of what the Portuguese community there is like, but I know that there are other kind of glimpses of Portuguese culture, throughout, in different areas. And I have been to Heritage Hall, and, it's small, but the people there are still very proud of their Portuguese heritage, and they have the events that they still can. So if someone has never been to Hawaii, or maybe they have and they never really noticed, what are some of the things that you think they should make a point to go see that have, whether it's a Portuguese statue or flag or building, or what are some of the Portuguese things that they should go see?
Well, at the risk of forgetting something and then regretting, I'm going to try. But I would say that there are 3 things first that the Portuguese are very well known for, and that there's no doubt. Number 1, malasadas, right? So malasadas, I would say, is the number 1 Portuguese thing here. And Leonard's on the Big Island is like there's lines outside of people all the time. So like they sell probably more malasadas than all of Portugal put together. They eat them all year,
Yeah.
And we only usually have them like for Carnaval and they do it. It's every day is a malasada day. Number 2, that is kind of my ranking, is not an official ranking, the ukulele. Ukulele, brought it from Portugal. The documentary and the book explains exactly how it was, and it's very interesting that those 3 individuals, Espírito Santo and the other guys, one of them taught the king Kalakaua how to play the ukulele.
Oh, wow.
They taught him how to build the ukulele, and then of course, if the king played it and built it, it became very popular throughout the islands, and then it evolves to being the symbol of Hawaiian music, because the hula, they say, there was in a newspaper, they said, thanks to the Portuguese for modernizing the hula, because the hula already existed. It was a native Hawaiian dance, but the introduction of the instruments of Portugal and the style of playing in Portugal, it's what modernized the hula, because they say it wasn't as exciting before that.
Oh, really?
So, we're really happy about that. And then I would say, malasadas, ukulele, and number 3, for sure, pão doce, or pão doce, as they say.
Say here.
Pão doce is também chamado biscoito, the sweet bread. But they say they don't call it sweet bread. They say pão doce. It's interesting. They remember that there's some words that remained, and pão doce is one of those. So I would say there's many more, but these three things, even those people that never been to Portugal, don't speak a word of Portuguese, never been to a festa, never did any of that, they know those three things: the malasadas, the ukulele, and the pão doce.
Excellent.
Of course, other things. And then as far as places, because that was your first question. Places to go, I would say Portuguese places to go. I would say in Maui, the only Portuguese hall in all of Hawaii. You have to go there and you have to meet Audrey Reed. She is
she's amazing.
She is amazing. I love Audrey Reed. She was one of my top 3 contacts here. She opened the doors to so many other people, like the largest dealer of Toyota in all the islands. Mr. Damien Free has been donating millions to these halls and these organizations, and it's through her, and he supports usually mostly her because he knows that she gets things done. And then in Oahu, you have the besides Leonard's, of course. The Leonard's, I don't think it's Portuguese anymore. I think it was purchased by Japanese or Italians. But it is a place that everybody goes, whether they're Portuguese or not. So having a malasada at Leonard's, which is very close to Waikiki Beach, you could almost walk there. And then still in Oahu, also the Punch Bowl Holy Spirit Capella Império, whether they're having a festa or not. They do the Dominga, they call it the Dominga. They start doing all of the Domingo Espírito Santo, and I was when I came for the documentary, it wasn't during Espírito Santo, but this time I came during Espírito Santo, so I got to see it for the first time. So I definitely recommend seeing that Império and meeting Evelyn Starkey, who's been president since 1986.
Oh my gosh.
And then in Kauai, there is not a place to go see and visit that has something Portuguese, but unless you go to the city hall. The city hall is packed with pictures of former city councils, mayors. We met Bernard Carvalho and Mel Raposo, 2 incredible individuals that are very excited of developing sister cities, with the consul general fostering those relationships. So I'm sure I'm forgetting more stuff, but it's all in the book and the documentary.
Excellent. So to wrap up here, where can people buy the book?
So the book I had a different approach this time.
Okay.
And because Amazon is getting pretty wild on the percentages of fees that they charge for storage, for just serving the people. So we have all of our Portuguese in products, like Portuguese in California is available on Amazon, the documentary, the book, the Portuguese in Hawaii book, and the documentary is sold out. It's sold out right on the first year.
Wow.
And I didn't do a second edition because it's not worth if you do more than 1,000. And I wasn't sure if we would sell another 1,000. But the book, we're only having it on the book release tour. So what I did is I didn't place it online. I didn't place it in stores. That's a logistic that takes a lot of time. So what I did is I brought the book with us to the tour, and I have a feeling it's going to be pretty close to sold out because we've reached an average 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 people, the big islands, maybe 100 people on each book signing. So if we all add all this up, we're reaching about probably between 500 and 1,000 people on this tour.
Wow.
So whatever books we have left, they're going to stay in Hawaii.
Okay.
And then people could send us a private message, and then we'll arrange shipments to them. We have some in Portugal because I'm very thankful to the government of Madeira, because Madeira really embraced this Hawaii project, because there's no numbers if there's more Madeira or more Azores, but I would say it's an even split, or slightly towards Madeira a little bit. But they purchased several books to support this project. We did the first world release of the documentary there, so we're going to have some books in Portugal as well. But at this point, it's only available through messaging us, and then we will ship it, not through Amazon.
Excellent. And we'll put the website, your Facebook page and your website in the comments of the recording that's both here on Facebook and on YouTube. And so I encourage everyone to go check out the book, check out the documentary, not only for Hawaii, but for California, New England as well. And so what's next? Are you going to do Florida? Are you going to do Canada? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, so if you allow me, Angela, I'm going to share a little bit of Hawaii with everybody.
Sure.
Não é para fazer inveja. It's not to make you jealous. It is to share with all of you a little bit of this beauty. I wish I was at a Portuguese venue, but not. I just landed in Hawaii. I'm at the hotel, and I was looking for Danny, because if Danny Abreu was here, we could have talked with a Portuguese Hawaiian here. But it is a beautiful place, and the Portuguese really picked a beautiful place to migrate here. And it was very, very challenging to get here. Many people passed, many people never made it, but it was a great decision. The weather is always fantastic. The people are amazing. It is a beautiful place to live. I wouldn't trade it for the Azores or California, but it's pretty close. It is a beautiful place, a lot of Portuguese culture here. So I really encourage everybody to come visit and to learn a little bit about the Portuguese culture here, and to know a little bit more about the Portuguese in different places. Well, next, the Portuguese Inn, I'm having requests for Canada a lot. A lot of people, oh, we gotta do Canada. And then other places where the Portuguese are that nobody knows, like Bermuda, or few people know, like Bermuda, or even those different, like I met people here that say there's a big presence of Portuguese in Haiti, in Guam, you know, so I don't know. I don't have a specific plan right now, but I do want to do that for sure. I want to do and I'm going to reveal it here, Angela, for the first time to you, the Coming to America, the way of the whale.
Oh my goodness.
So this would be something that encompass everything, not just California or Hawaii or New England or Florida or New Jersey. It is really a documentary about the Portuguese in America.
Wow.
But instead, I want to stay a little bit away from this Portuguese in this, Portuguese in that, and go more. Although the brands, I recommend everybody go on Facebook, go to Portuguese In. If you search, because there's a lot of content there, free content that you can have, that I've been doing for more than 10 years. When it started, when Facebook wasn't that popular. Now almost everybody uses it. But there's a lot of free content there that you could check out. But I want to, this is a dream I have, and I want to work on this NEH with the partnership that we developed with PALCUS. It's a dream I have for a long time, but it's very difficult. I don't think any Portuguese ever, anywhere in the world, been awarded an NEH for film. So it would be the first. It's a challenge, but we're gonna work on
do
that.
It.
And if we do it, it's gonna come, the Coming to America, the way of the whale.
Excellent. Oh, I can't wait. It sounds amazing. Well, congratulations, Parabéns, Nelson, on another fantastic, not only documentary, but book, and, helping to capture the legacy of the Portuguese in Hawaii. So I know that the community there is very appreciative, and you do beautiful work. So thank you, Nelson. Enjoy the rest of the tour in Hawaii. And I guess, as they say, mahalo.
Mahalo, the shaka, mahalo, aloha. The three words aloha. I learned, the aloha, number one, right? The mahalo and the shaka.
Shaka, all right. Aloha.
Obrigado a todos. Aloha to everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in, checking out. Please support PALCUS. PALCUS is doing beautiful, amazing, important things for many years. So you should support not only Angela, PALCUS, the new chair, everybody. I can testify to the significance of this organization. It is I believe it is one of the most important and meaningful Portuguese organizations in the world.
Thank you for that endorsement, or that shout out. I really appreciate it. All right, Nelson, thank you so much.
Muito obrigado.
Mahalo. All right. Ciao.
Agora tem papo bocadinho de praia.
Okay, bye.